The night sky above Earth looked calm. Stars blinked like tiny eyes and the moon shined quietly. But something new had appeared in the dark. At first it was only a dot. Small, silent. Nobody noticed it. A farmer in Brazil saw it first. He was looking at the sky with his old telescope. The dot moved, but not like a normal star. It did not twinkle. It glided, slow and steady, across the black sky. He frowned and whispered, "That is no star." By morning, satellites had confirmed it. An object had entered Earth's orbit. It was not from Earth. It had no flag, no design that scientists could understand. No signals, no sound, just silence. Governments around the world called emergency meetings. Presidents, prime ministers, and generals stared at grainy pictures of the object. It was massive, shaped like a dark arrowhead, almost a kilometer long. It floated like a giant shadow above the blue planet. The public was not told the truth. On the news, they called it a strange asteroid. But inside underground bunkers, leaders whispered to each other with fear in their eyes. "It is a ship," one general said, "and it is watching us." For 2 days, the object did nothing. No radio signals, no movement. It only hovered. Scientists begged to send messages into space. "We should try to talk," they argued, but the generals shook their heads. If they came this far, they already know who we are, and they are not here to chat. On the third night, something happened. A bright beam of light shot down from the object. It was thin, sharp, and deadly. The beam touched a satellite orbiting Earth. In 1 second, the satellite was gone. Vaporized into dust, the world panicked. Phones rang in every command center. Eyes widened. People shouted across the room. They destroyed it in one shot. Our best military satellite. Without warning. Leaders knew they could not hide it any longer. Rumors spread online. Amateur astronomers had seen the flash. People began to ask questions. Fear was growing. At last, the object spoke. A voice came through every major communication channel. It was not a human voice. It was deep, metallic, and full of cold confidence. "People of Earth," it said, "we are here. Do not resist. Your weapons are useless. You will surrender." The words echoed across radios, televisions, and computers. For the first time in history, every human heard the same message at the same moment. The world froze. Some cried, some prayed, some grew angry. But the voice did not care. It continued, "We are the Cathar Dominion. We come from the stars. We have seen your weapons. They are primitive. They cannot harm us. Obey, and you may live." Then silence. Again. In Washington, the president sat with his generals. "What do they want?" he asked. "They want us to kneel," the general said. "And if we don't? They'll show us what real weapons look like." Across the ocean, in Moscow, Beijing and London leaders faced the same question. To fight or to surrender. Some were ready to give up. Others were ready to risk everything. But the soldiers, the ones who had trained their whole lives, were not afraid. They sat in hidden bases, polishing rifles, loading tanks, checking missiles. "They think we are weak," one captain said. "Let them think. That is our chance." Meanwhile, the alien ship continued to watch. Its sensors scanned every base, every missile silo, every fighter jet. Inside the alien command deck, tall figures with gray skin studied holograms of Earth's armies. They laughed, a cruel metallic sound. "These humans still use bullets," one alien sneered. "They point rockets at the sky like children with sticks," another said. "They believe these machines can harm us. How amusing." The alien commander raised a clawed hand. "Do not underestimate them too much. Even animals fight when they are afraid. But in the end, they will kneel. They always kneel." Back on Earth, in a secret underground room, generals and scientists argued. "We should prepare nuclear strikes," one shouted. "It will not work," another answered. "Their shield destroyed our satellite with one beam. Nukes will be useless." "Then what do we do?" A scientist stood quietly at the edge of the room. His voice was soft but clear. We do not show them all our weapons, not yet. Let them think we are weak, let them believe. And when they attack, then we answer. The general stared at him. Slowly they nodded. A plan was beginning to form. A dangerous plan. The alien ship moved again. This time its voice returned. In 24 of your hours, it said, we will land. We will show you power. You will see how small you are. And then, silence once more. The countdown had begun. The whole planet held its breath. The countdown had begun. 24 hours until the aliens touched Earth. 24 hours until the unknown became real. Across the planet, fear spread faster than fire. Streets buzzed with rumors. Some believed the visitors came for peace. Others whispered of invasion and slavery. In cities, people rushed to stores, filling bags with food and water. In churches, temples, and mosques, voices prayed in every language. Governments tried to control the panic. Officials stood on television screens, smiling nervously, saying everything is under control. But people could see the truth in their eyes. The leaders were afraid too. Deep underground, far away from cameras, the real meetings took place. In a hidden bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, world leaders sat around a long steel table. Their faces were pale. Maps and screens glowed in front of them. Red circles marked Earth's military bases. Every circle was being scanned by the alien ship. A general with sharp eyes spoke first. They are testing us. They are measuring our weapons, our defenses. The president of France frowned. And what do they see? They see weakness, the general replied. And maybe they are right. The room fell silent. Nobody wanted to admit the truth. Humanity had nuclear weapons, tanks, aircraft carriers, and fighter jets. But against a ship that could burn a satellite in 1 second, it felt like nothing. Finally, a scientist broke the silence. His voice was steady, but his hands trembled. They think our weapons are toys. That is their mistake, because human weapons are not just machines. They are born from fear, from survival. They are made by people who never give up. Some leaders looked at him with hope. Others shook their heads. Do you want to fight them? One asked. Yes, the scientist said, but not head on, not yet. We must trick them. Let them believe we are weak until it is too late. The generals leaned forward. A plan was forming, thin as smoke but growing stronger. While humans debated underground, the alien ship floated high above like a silent predator. Inside, the Cathar commanders watched Earth with glowing eyes. One of the younger aliens sneered at the screens. These humans panic easily. Look at them, riots, fear. They will break without us firing a single shot. But the alien commander, taller and older, did not laugh. His black claws tapped on the metal table. Do not mistake noise for surrender, he said. Fear can make a species kneel, but it can also make them dangerous. The younger alien hissed. Their weapons are nothing, bullets, explosives, fireworks compared to us. The commander's eyes narrowed. Perhaps, but I want proof. Tomorrow we will land. We will test their courage. That night, across Earth, soldiers prepared in silence. In deserts, in jungles, on frozen airfields, men and women checked their rifles and loaded their tanks. They were afraid, yes, but they were also stubborn. In one hidden base, a young soldier named Ryan cleaned his weapon while his commander watched the skies. Do you think we stand a chance? Ryan asked quietly. The commander lit a cigarette, smoke curling in the dark. They may have power, he said, but they don't know what it means to fight like humans. They don't know what it means to fight for home. Ryan nodded. His fear melted, replaced with something harder. Resolve. The next morning, the world held its breath. Every screen, every radio, every phone buzzed with the same message. The aliens were speaking again. Humans, the metallic voice said. We warned you. We have no interest in your leaders, your governments, or your armies. We want only your obedience. In 1 hour we will land on your soil. You will see our power. You will kneel. The message ended. Silence followed. And then, chaos. Crowds filled the streets watching the sky. Cameras pointed upward. Scientists in observatories gripped their instruments. Soldiers crouched inside armored vehicles waiting. For orders, 59 minutes, 58, 57. The countdown ticked like a heartbeat. At last, the sky tore open. Clouds split apart as a dark shadow descended. The alien ship glided lower and lower until its enormous frame blotted out the sun. People gasped as day turned to night. The ship landed in the Nevada desert, far from cities but close enough for the whole world to see on live broadcast. Sand exploded into the air as the ground shook beneath its weight. The first hatch opened, and from the darkness, figures stepped out. Tall, armored, with skin like steel and eyes glowing white. They carried weapons that hummed with deadly energy. The crowd watching on screens around the world went silent. Children clutched their mothers. Soldiers tightened their grips on rifles. One alien soldier raised his weapon. With a single blast, a tank turned into molten metal. The desert ground hissed with heat. The alien commander's voice echoed across the planet. "Your machines are weak, your weapons are nothing. This is your last chance, kneel." The world seemed frozen in that moment. Fear pressed down on every chest. But in the underground bunker, the general whispered to his staff, "Hold. Do not fire. Not yet." The aliens waited. The humans waited. The desert air was heavy, as if the whole planet was holding its breath. Then the general's eyes narrowed. His voice was low but firm. "Let them laugh. Soon, they will understand." The Nevada desert lay silent except for the low hum of the alien ship. Its massive body cast a shadow over the sand, stretching for miles. The world was watching. Cameras streamed the scene live. Soldiers waited in hidden trenches, sweat dripping down their faces. The aliens stood tall, their armor shining like black glass. Weapons glowed with strange blue light, humming softly, promising destruction. They looked at the human tanks, trucks, and rifles lined up before them, and they laughed. One alien raised his claw and pointed. "These machines are children's toys. They cannot harm us." The soldiers in the trenches clenched their fists. They wanted to fight, but their orders were clear. Hold. Do not attack first. Let the enemy believe. The alien commander stepped forward. He was taller than the others, his armor marked with glowing symbols. His voice boomed across the desert. "Humans, we give you one last chance. Lay down your weapons. Bow before the Cathar Dominion. If you resist, you will be erased." For a moment, the desert was silent. Even the wind seemed to stop. Then a human general stepped forward from the line of tanks. His boots crunched on the sand. His face was calm, his eyes steady. He did not kneel. Instead, he raised his chin and spoke. His voice carried across the battlefield, firm and clear. "You came to our world. You destroyed our satellite. You threatened our people. And now you tell us to kneel?" The alien commander tilted his head. "Yes, you cannot win." The general's lips curved into a faint smile. "Then you have made a mistake." The aliens hissed with laughter. Their voices echoed like cold metal scraping against stone. To them, the humans' defiance was amusing, nothing more than foolish pride. But beneath the desert, deep inside hidden bunkers, scientists and soldiers were waiting. Computers buzzed. Fingers hovered over controls. In secret, the humans had prepared weapons the aliens had never seen. Weapons they had never even imagined humans could build. The alien commander raised his arm. "If you will not kneel, then you will burn." His soldiers lifted their glowing rifles. Blue energy gathered at the tips. The air vibrated with deadly power. "Fire," the commander ordered. Beams of plasma shot across the desert, slamming into tanks and armored trucks. Metal melted. Engines burst into flames. Sand turned into glass. Around the world, people watching the broadcast screamed. It looked hopeless. But the soldiers in the trenches did not run. Their eyes stayed on their general, waiting for the signal. Smoke rose into the sky. The desert floor glowed red. The aliens lowered their weapons, satisfied. "See," the commander sneered. "Your toys are ashes." But then, Through the smoke, shapes began to appear. The tanks were not destroyed. Their outer shells were burning. Yes, but beneath the scorched metal, something stronger gleamed. Experimental armor. New technology, hidden from the world until this very moment. The alien commander's eyes widened. Impossible. The general raised his hand. Now. The ground shook. Hidden panels opened in the desert floor. From the sand rose strange machines, sleek, sharp, armed with weapons no alien had ever seen. Railguns, prototype drones, experimental, missiles, humanity's secret teeth. The soldiers in the trenches jumped to their feet. Their rifles were not ordinary. They carried new designs, projectiles built to pierce energy shields, bullets that carried more than just metal, bullets that carried fury. The aliens hissed, their confidence slipping. What trick is this? The general's voice was calm, steady. You thought we were weak, you thought wrong. He raised his hand again. Fire! The desert erupted. Railguns launched rounds at impossible speeds. Missiles screamed into the sky, turning midair and diving straight at the alien ship. Drones zipped out from underground hangars, their engines roaring. The alien soldiers raised their shields. Blue light shimmered around them. For a moment, it looked as if nothing could touch them. But then the first railgun round struck. The shield flickered. A sharp crack split the air. Another missile hit, then another. The alien shield shuddered under the pressure. Inside their ship, alarms blared. Alien officers scrambled. Their weapons, they are piercing the shield, the commander growled. Keep firing, do not let them break us, but it was too late. The humans were no longer silent, they were no longer hiding. Every weapon they had kept in secret now roared like thunder. On the battlefield, a young soldier named Ryan squeezed the trigger of his rifle. The bullet cut through the alien shield like a hot knife through ice. The alien in front of him collapsed, sparks flying from its armor. Ryan's eyes widened. It worked. His commander shouted, "Keep firing." The desert exploded with sound, railguns slamming, rifles cracking, missiles bursting. The aliens staggered, their shields crumbling. For the first time, they looked unsure. For the first time, they looked afraid. The alien commander roared in anger. His voice shook the air. You dare resist the Dominion? You dare defy us? The general answered without fear. His voice was steel. We don't kneel. Not now. Not ever. The world was watching. Billions of eyes stared at their screens as the impossible unfolded. Humanity, weak and small, was fighting back. The desert, sky was fire and smoke. Soldiers shouted, aliens screamed, weapons clashed, and in that chaos one truth became clear. The battle had only begun. The Nevada desert was no longer silent. It had become a storm of fire and thunder. Explosions lit up the night sky as human weapons roared for the first time against the invaders. The ground shook with every blast. Railgun rounds screamed through the air, faster than sound. Missiles split the sky with long trails of smoke. The alien ship, proud and untouchable only moments before, now flickered with light as its shields cracked under the relentless assault. Inside the ship, alarms blared. Red symbols flashed across alien screens. Soldiers hissed in disbelief. This cannot be, one growled. Their weapons should be useless, another protested. Yet the shields trembled. Each impact was a reminder that the humans were not as weak as they seemed. The alien commander's white eyes narrowed. His claws tapped against the console, his calm slipping into anger. Increase power to shields, crush their fire, show them what true weapons can do. On the battlefield below, alien soldiers fired their plasma rifles again. Blue beams sliced through the desert, melting metal and rock alike. Tanks crumbled into molten shells. Drones fell from the sky in bursts of flame, but still the humans did not break. From behind burning wrecks, soldiers rose and fired experimental rifles. The bullets glowed faintly, tearing holes in alien armor. For the first time, alien screams echoed across the battlefield. A young soldier, Ryan, fired until his rifle clicked empty. He dropped behind a trench, heart pounding, smoke stinging his eyes. "Commander, it's working," he shouted over the chaos. His commander's face was hard, streaked with dirt. Then keep fighting. Do not stop until they learn fear. Ryan reloaded. His hands shook, not from fear now, but from adrenaline. He peeked out, saw an alien warrior charging forward, plasma cannon glowing. Ryan aimed, squeezed the trigger, and the alien dropped, its armor sparking. For the first time, Ryan saw it, the look of hesitation in the alien's eyes before it fell. They were not invincible. The alien commander snarled as another railgun round smashed into the ship's shield. A ripple spread across the barrier. For a moment, it dimmed. Impossible, he muttered. These creatures should not have this power. One of his lieutenants spoke nervously. Commander, if they continue, our shield may fail. The commander turned, his voice sharp as a blade. The Dominion has never fallen to primitives. Never. Prepare the Scorcher. The aliens activated a new weapon. Beneath the ship, a hatch opened. A massive cannon unfolded, glowing with searing light. Its energy built until the desert glowed white-hot beneath it. The humans froze as the ground trembled. One soldier whispered, "What is that?" The general knew. His jaw tightened. "Take cover!" The Scorcher fired. A blinding beam cut across the desert, slicing through dunes and mountains alike. The earth itself melted in its path. Entire squads vanished in the flash, their screams swallowed by the roar. For a moment, the battlefield was silent. Dust and smoke hung in the air. The aliens hissed with triumph. But then, through the smoke, the sound of engines rumbled. A squadron of experimental aircraft, hidden until now, burst into the sky. Their wings gleamed in the moonlight. Their weapons armed. "Strike them," the general commanded. The jets launched a rain of missiles. They darted around plasma blasts, weaving through fire like hunting birds. Explosions rocked the alien ship again. The shield, already weakened, shuddered violently. Inside the command deck, sparks flew. Consoles flickered. The alien commander gripped the railing, his calm gone. "They should not have this strength," he hissed. "They should not, on..." The ground, Ryan and his unit pushed forward. Smoke and fire burned around them. The sand was glass beneath their boots, yet their eyes burned with determination. Ryan ducked behind a scorched tank and fired again. His bullet pierced another alien soldier, sending it crashing into the dirt. "They're falling back," Ryan shouted. The commander of his unit shook his head. "Not yet. They're regrouping. Stay sharp." He was right. The aliens were not broken. They were furious. Plasma blasts tore across the battlefield again, turning trenches into craters. Alien soldiers charged forward, taller, faster, stronger than any human. Ryan barely rolled, aside as a plasma beam scorched the ground where he had stood. His ears rang, his chest burned, but he rose again, rifle steady. He would not run, none of them would. The battle raged for hours. Fire lit the desert like a false sunrise. The world watched from their screens in awe and terror. Nobody could look away. Every moment was a struggle. Humans fell, aliens fell. The sand was painted red and black. But one truth became clear. Humanity was not kneeling. Not this time. Inside the alien ship, the commander's fury burned hotter with each strike against his shield. His soldiers whispered in fear. "They should not have this power. Their weapons are primitive, yet they pierce our defense." The commander slammed his clawed hand against the console. "Enough. If they wish to fight, then we will drown their world in fire." His eyes glowed white with rage as he gave the order. "Prepare the orbital cannons." On the ground, the human general received a report through his earpiece. His face darkened. "They're preparing something bigger," he muttered. He turned to his men. "Hold the line. Buy us time." Ryan looked at him confused. "Time for what?" The general's eyes were sharp as steel. "Time for us to show them what human weapons can really do." The ground rumbled as the alien ship's cannons began to charge. The air vibrated with deadly energy, and the whole world watched, waiting for the sky to fall. The alien ship hovered above the Nevada desert like a black mountain in the sky. Its massive cannons glowed brighter and brighter, ready to unleash destruction from orbit. The air itself vibrated with their power. On the ground, soldiers shielded their eyes from the growing light. Fear rippled through the ranks. Some whispered prayers. Others gripped their rifles tighter, refusing to let go. General Harris stood in the command post, his jaw hard as stone. His earpiece buzzed with reports. "Sir, their cannons are charging. If they fire, the entire desert will be gone." The general closed his eyes for a brief moment. He had been waiting for this. Slowly, he spoke into the radio. "Execute Phase 2. Hidden far beneath the desert, in a base unknown to the public, lights flickered on. Massive steel doors opened, with a groan. From the darkness, machines rose, sleek and angular, armed with weapons never shown to the world before, experimental rail batteries, swarms of autonomous drones, and something even stranger, a weapon humans had never tested in open battle: electromagnetic disruptors. The order went through the network. Soldiers flipped switches, scientists locked coordinates, generators hummed to life. Up above, the alien commander raised his claw. His voice was sharp, echoing through the command deck. "Fire the cannons, erase them from existence." The sky split with light as the orbital cannons roared to life. Bolts of burning plasma streaked toward the Earth. But just before they hit, a ripple of invisible energy spread from the human base. It pulsed like a silent wave. The alien bolts flickered, and then blinked out, dissolving into harmless sparks. Gasps filled the human command room. Soldiers stared at the monitors, stunned. It worked. The disruptors had intercepted the attack. The general smiled grimly. "Now, it's our turn." The rail batteries fired. Massive slugs of metal shot through the air at speeds faster than any missile. They slammed into the alien ship's shields with earth-shaking force. The drones rose like a swarm of hornets, weaving through plasma fire, darting straight at the ship's weak points. Each one carried explosives powerful enough to tear through steel. The alien commander staggered as the ship shuddered under impact after impact. Sparks flew across consoles. His soldiers cried out in disbelief. "The shield is breaking. Their weapons should not do this." The commander's claws clenched. "Impossible, no primitive world has ever..." Another rail slug smashed into the ship. The shield cracked like glass. On the ground, Ryan and his unit watched the impossible happen. The alien shield, the thing that had made them untouchable, was failing. Ryan's chest burned with adrenaline. He shouted to his squad, "Push forward, they're not invincible." The soldiers rose from their cover, charging through fire and smoke. Bullets ripped into alien warriors. Plasma blasts lit up the sand, but the humans kept going step by step. Ryan fired again and again, his rifle glowing hot. An alien soldier collapsed in front of him, armor sparking. For the first time, Ryan saw fear in their glowing eyes. Inside the alien ship, the commander slammed his fist into the console. "Regroup. Hold the line. Do not let them break us." But fear was spreading among his warriors. The Cathar Dominion had conquered hundreds of worlds. They had crushed countless species without resistance. But these humans were different. They fought like animals. They fought like fire. And worst of all, they fought with weapons that should not exist. Back on the battlefield, the general barked new orders. "Target their engines, bring that monster down." Railguns adjusted their aim. Missiles locked on. The sky filled with streaks of fire. The alien ship tried to rise, its engines glowing as it strained to escape the storm. But the swarm of drones clung to its hull, exploding in bursts of flame. One by one, its engines faltered. The ground shook as the massive ship dipped lower, smoke pouring from its frame. It was still deadly, still dangerous, but no longer untouchable. Ryan's squad cheered as the alien vessel shuddered in the air. But their commander raised a hand. "Do not celebrate yet. They are not defeated. Not by far." As if to prove him right, the ship unleashed a desperate barrage of plasma fire. Beams rained down across the desert, carving craters into the earth. Dozens of soldiers fell, swallowed by the blasts. Ryan dove behind a wrecked tank, heart hammering. Dust and heat pressed into his lungs. For a moment he thought it was over. Then he looked up and saw the alien ship burning. Smoke and fire poured from its wounds. Its shield was gone, its armor cracked, and humanity was still standing. In the alien command deck, chaos reigned. Officers shouted. Screens flickered with warning signals. The commander bared his teeth. They should not have done this. They should not. A younger alien turned to him, fear in his voice. Commander, we underestimated them. If we continue, we may lose the ship. The commander's eyes burned with rage. Lose? To them? Never. But deep inside, even he could feel it. The first taste of doubt. On Earth, General Harris stood tall as reports came in. The alien ship was damaged. The disruptors had worked. Humanity had struck back. For the first time since the invasion began, hope filled the bunker. Soldiers smiled through blood and smoke. Scientists wept with relief. The general spoke into his radio, his voice steady. Let the world see. Let them know we are not helpless. Let them know. Humans fight back. The desert burned. The alien ship trembled. And for the first time in history, the conquerors from the stars realized they were not fighting prey. They were fighting predators. The Nevada desert was fire and smoke. The alien ship trembled in the sky like a wounded beast. Its once proud shields were gone, shattered by weapons the aliens had believed impossible for humans to build. Sparks danced across its hull as fire spread from broken engines. On the ground, soldiers cheered through the dust and chaos. Some raised their rifles to the sky. Others dropped to their knees in relief. Humanity had survived the first storm. They had not only resisted, they had hurt the enemy. But the battle was not over. General Harris stood in the command bunker, eyes locked on the screens. Don't relax, he ordered. They are desperate now. And desperate enemies are the most dangerous. Inside the alien ship, panic spread like disease. Alarms wailed. Consoles flickered with red warnings. Smoke filled the command deck as officers scrambled to restore power. One alien soldier staggered forward, his white eyes wide. Commander, our shield is gone. If they strike again. The alien commander slammed his clawed fist onto the console. Sparks burst from the screen. Silence! The Dominion does not fear insects. But even as he spoke, he could feel it, the unease in the air. His soldiers, once so arrogant, now trembled. Their voices were sharp, fast, frantic. They were not warriors anymore. They were prey trapped in a cage. Above Earth, in orbit, more Cathar ships had been watching. Reinforcements that had expected an easy show of dominance. They had expected to see humans beg and kneel. Instead, they saw their great warship damaged. They saw alien soldiers cut down by rifles and missiles that should not exist. They saw the Dominion humiliated. A younger commander aboard one of the orbiting ships whispered to his crew, "If humans can do this with one planet, what will they do when they spread to the stars?" The question hung heavy in the air. None dared answer. On Earth, Ryan crouched behind the smoking wreck of a drone launcher. His body ached, his lungs burned, but his eyes were fixed on the alien ship above. "It's falling back," he muttered. His commander crouched beside him, scanning the sky. "Not falling back. Repositioning. They won't give up so easily." Ryan wiped the sweat from his face. His rifle was hot, the barrel glowing faintly. He had already lost count of how many shots he had fired. He thought of the people watching across the world, families in their homes, children glued to their screens. For the first time, maybe those children believed humans could win, and that thought gave him strength. The alien commander roared in anger, his voice echoing across the command deck. "We are the Cathar Dominion. We have crushed empires, burned worlds, erased entire species, and now these humans dare wound us?" A lieutenant spoke softly, almost trembling. "Commander, perhaps we underestimated them. Their weapons..." The commander turned sharply, his eyes glowing like fire. "Do you doubt the Dominion?" The lieutenant lowered his head but whispered again. "No, Commander, but I fear them." The word hung in the air like poison. Fear. Every alien officer felt it. None wanted to speak it. But now it was real. In the human bunker, scientists rushed across the room, shouting updates. "The disruptors are holding. Rail batteries ready. For another volley." General Harris nodded. "Keep the pressure on. Don't let them recover." He turned to his officers. His voice was calm, but his eyes burned. This is not just about survival. This is about sending a message. If they leave today, they must leave knowing humanity is not prey. Back in orbit, the Cathar reinforcements debated furiously. Messages hissed through their comms. Should we strike now? One asked. If we strike, we risk the same humiliation, another argued. They should not have been able to harm the Vanguard ship. And yet, silence followed. The Dominion had ruled the stars for centuries through fear. But what happens when the Conqueror begins to feel fear themselves? On the desert battlefield, the fight raged on. Alien soldiers regrouped, their plasma weapons cutting swaths of fire across the sand. But their movements were no longer confident. They hesitated. They glanced at the sky as if unsure whether their ship would protect them. Ryan saw it too. They're scared, he whispered. They're actually scared. His commander gave a sharp nod. Good. Press them harder. Fear breaks faster than armor. And so the humans advanced. Step by step. Through fire and smoke, through loss and blood, they pushed forward. Their weapons roared, their voices shouted in defiance. For every soldier that fell, 2 more rose. For every weapon destroyed, another took its place. The aliens had expected humans to break. Instead, they were breaking. The alien commander stared at the battlefield feed. His claws dug into the console until sparks flew. His soldiers were dying. His ship was crippled. His reinforcements hesitated in orbit, and worse than all of that, he could see it in the eyes of his warriors. Fear. They are only humans, he growled. Primitive. Fragile. They should not make us afraid. But the truth was undeniable. The Dominion had never faced prey like this. In the bunker, General Harris received a report. Sir, the alien ship is signaling. We believe they are requesting reinforcements. The general's lips curled into a thin smile. Good. Let them call for help. Let their empire know what happened here today. His voice hardened. Let them know why humans should never be underestimated. The desert burned. The alien ship struggled to hold position. And far above, in the cold silence of space, the rest of the Dominion fleet began to whisper among themselves. For the first time in centuries, the conquerors of the stars felt something they had not known in generations. Fear. The Nevada desert smoldered like a battlefield from another world. Black smoke curled into the sky. The alien ship, once a symbol of unstoppable power, now trembled. Above the earth like a wounded beast, its shields were gone, its engines sputtered. Its soldiers faltered. Human weapons, those the aliens had mocked as primitive, had torn holes in their pride. Inside the command deck, the alien commander gripped the railing, his claws trembling. Sparks fell around him as the ship groaned under stress. His officers whispered, their voices sharp with panic. Commander, the engines will not hold. Our weapons are failing. Their rail batteries, their disruptors, we cannot fight this. The commander's eyes burned white with fury. He wanted to deny it. He wanted to order one last strike, one final show of dominance. But the truth could not be hidden anymore. They were losing. On the ground, General Harris stood tall in the command bunker. His face was streaked with sweat and dust, but his eyes were steady. Reports came in from every unit. The aliens were retreating, their ground forces scattering. Ryan and his squad pushed forward, rifles ready. They watched as alien soldiers pulled back toward the ship, their once proud steps now hurried. Almost desperate. Ryan's heart pounded as he realized what he was seeing. They're running, he whispered. His commander nodded. Yes, even giants can run when they taste fear. The alien ship's engines flared weakly as it rose higher into the sky. Pieces of metal broke off, falling into the desert below. Drones followed, swarming around it like angry hornets, forcing it upward, away from the battlefield. Inside the ship, a lieutenant turned to the commander, his voice low. If we remain, we will fall. We must retreat. The commander's jaw tightened. Retreat was not in the language of the Dominion. Retreat was weakness. But today, He had no choice. He gave the order no alien had spoken on a conquered world in centuries. Withdraw. The whole world watched as the alien warship, bleeding smoke, crawled back into the sky. Its once perfect frame was scarred and broken. Its glowing cannons were silent. Its soldiers, once fearless, huddled in shame. The message was clear. The invaders were leaving. Cheers erupted across the planet. In cities, people poured into the streets shouting with joy. In villages, bells rang. In homes, families embraced, tears streaming down their faces. For the first time since the arrival, the world felt hope. But General Harris did not cheer. He watched the retreating ship with hard eyes. "This is not victory," he murmured. "This is only the beginning." High above Earth, the retreating ship limped toward its fleet. Dozens of Dominion vessels waited in silence. Their commanders had expected triumph. Instead, they watched their strongest warship arrive battered, scarred, humiliated. The alien commander sent a message to the fleet. His voice was sharp, but beneath it was something new. Hesitation. "These humans, they are not what we believed. Their weapons are dangerous. Their will to fight is stronger than expected. They will not kneel." The words spread through the fleet like a shockwave. The Cathar Dominion, rulers of countless worlds, had found something they had never faced before. Resistance, and worse, resistance that worked. Back on Earth, soldiers stood among the ruins of the desert battlefield. Smoke stung their eyes, but their heads were high. Ryan lowered his rifle, staring at the sky where the alien ship had vanished. "We did it," he whispered. His commander placed a hand on his shoulder. "No, we survived. And survival is only the first step." Ryan nodded. He understood. The aliens would return. They would not forget this humiliation, but neither would humanity. In the bunker, General Harris addressed his officers. His voice carried across the room, strong and steady. "Today, the world saw something it has never seen before. We faced an empire from the stars. They came to break us. Instead, we broke their pride. Today, humanity learned that we can fight back, and the galaxy learned that humans are not prey." Silence followed, heavy with meaning. Soldiers exchanged looks of grim determination. Scientists tightened their jaws. Politicians, watching from screens, understood what must come next. The world could no longer be divided. Old rivalries meant nothing now. Earth had one enemy, and it was not each other. For the first time in history, humanity stood united. Above Earth, the alien fleet turned slowly, engines glowing in the darkness. The battered warship sent its final report back to the Empire. "These humans, they are dangerous. Their weapons are more than machines. They are born from desperation, from unity, from survival. To fight them is to fight a species that refuses to kneel. Approach with caution." The Dominion had never sent such a warning before. In the Nevada desert, the fires slowly died. Soldiers tended to the wounded. The air smelled of smoke, ash, and iron. But through the pain there was pride. Ryan sat on a broken piece of armor, staring at the stars. His uniform was torn, his hands dirty, but his eyes were bright. "They'll come back," he said quietly. His commander sat beside him. "Yes, and when they do, we'll be ready." Ryan smiled faintly. "Let them come." Far above, in the endless dark, more ships stirred. Shadows moved among the stars. The Dominion was not finished, but Earth was not the same planet it had been. Yesterday, humanity had shown its teeth. Humanity had drawn blood. And that night, across the galaxy, a new truth spread like fire. The day the Cathar Dominion learned why human weapons should be feared was only the beginning.